Hello dear students, welcome to LIS 204 course. In the last class we have discussed about the reactive or on-demand information services that are offered by library and information centers. In today's class we are going to discuss about the proactive or the called as anticipatory information services. Anticipatory reference and information services are offered in libraries in anticipation of a demand of such service. Keeping author and the subject bibliographies ready to give them on demand is one form of anticipatory reference service. Anticipation of demands presupposes assessment of requirements of user needs in advance. These services may include bibliographical compilations on specific topics, general current awareness service, information clipping service, indexing services, abstracting service, project information files or reporting services, user education programs are some of the examples for this proactive or anticipatory information services that are offered. Coming to this current awareness service, it is all about updating the users about the receipt of nascent or new information in the library to the particular user who are interested in that particular topic. This service is meant to keep the researchers, advanced level teachers, and such other abreast of current developments taking place in the respective field of study and research. Obviously, the emphasis will be on the current materials that report research and development on the wave front of the knowledge all over the world. Users of current literature keenly look forward to accessing tools such as current awareness bulletins. Current contents is a typical example of current awareness tool at the international level. At the local library level, the services has to be carefully planned, taking the help of the users in selecting the titles of the journals to be included for the services, as well as other type of literatures like research reports, monographs, and the treatises, conference papers, etc. The services can be offered in the form of weekly bulletins, depending upon the quantity of the materials received in the library. Monthly accession list and the display of new arrivals. Both monographs and serials are two basic forms of this current awareness service. Some of the aspects that should get full attention in the preparation of production of current awareness services at the local level are: what is the subject scope and the coverage of the product that you are developing? Selection of types of documents. Which type of document you want to include? What will be the frequency of the document, the tool that you are developing? It is weekly, monthly, fortnightly. How frequently you are going to bring up this tool or update this tool? The mode of presentation of information, the contents by journals or the classified lists, etc. How you're going to present it? You just want to give only the bibliographical details, and how it is going to be arranged, whether it is in alphabetical form or class number wise or chronology wise, how it is to be arranged. Means of physical production, whether it will be produced in a print format or whether it will be produced in a online format or digital document. Supporting indexes and their cumulations. See, if you are developing a product of maybe 50-60 pages, it is really hard for anyone to go through the entire document. they will be interested in one or two areas. So if you provide the index, then definitely they will go to that index and search what they need in particular. Types of current awareness services. Basically, there are two types which may be recognized. Those services which are directed towards individuals or group of users, that may include communication of information to individuals or groups through informal conversation or via telephone, messages sent on notification form, SDI, that is selective dissemination of documents, routing of periodicals or automatic loan, and other documents. In this field, information supplied within the period of 1 week or 1 month. More important is the currentness of the information, the nascentness, the newness of the information. The second type of these current awareness services are those services which are directed towards all the users of the services. In the earlier one, you are directing to specific individual or specific group. In the second form, you are directing or generalizing these services to each and everyone in the library or the library users. This may include the accession list, a list of recent acquisitions in the library, a bibliography, indexing and abstracting services, bibliographical surveys, literature surveys, table of contents of periodical received in the library, current awareness bulletins, etc. In this field, information supplied will be either daily or within the period of 1 week. Aims and purpose of current awareness surveys is to aware the scientists or the users with the latest development in their subject fields, to keep the clients well informed and up to date knowledge of latest development in their field of research, to fulfill the current demands of the users. The most important characteristics of current awareness service, however, is the speed with which the current information is made available to the users. The services must necessarily be very fast. It should be mentioned that it is not the researcher alone who need current information, but there are other user groups too whom current information is of great value. Examples like the policymakers or the professionals. It is customary for any special library to provide some kind of current awareness service to its users. We may call it in-house current awareness service. There are at least 4 ways of providing in-house current awareness service. The first one being display of currently received documents in the library, notifying the receipt of the new arrivals, routing of the journals, and the publication of in-house current awareness bulletins. The display method is practiced by all libraries. You remember, you go to a library and you will find few of the books or in the glass cupboards or open racks on the rotating racks. So they are displayed to you, or just the book jackets are put there in the notice boards. Current issues of journals are displayed on specially designed racks to facilitate browsing by the users. More researchers adopt this method of keeping in touch with the current journal literature. The display of newly acquired books in the libraries also fall into this category. Say either you display the availability of the current issue in your pigeonhole racks of the periodical section, okay, on the display board, okay, or you take out the book jackets, the book cover page, front cover, or you photocopy that front cover and then you put it on the display board or on the rotating racks, so that the user will come to know what are the new books that are acquired in the library, what are the new journal issues that are received in the libraries. Since most of the libraries are aware of the needs and interest of many of the users, it is not uncommon to find the librarians informing them in person about any interesting additions to the library. This is generally done as an informal process. In fact, the root of the selective dissemination of information discussed in next section lies in the system. Routing of the journals to the users is also adopted by many libraries, which, however, is a cumbersome and time-consuming process and generally not encouraged in many libraries. See, in routing of the journals, what happens is, suppose I have a list of persons who are interested in particular journals. As and when I receive an issue of that journal, I'll prepare the list according to the ranks of that employees in our institution. Suppose there is Vice Chancellor, Registrar, Finance Officer, Professors, Dean, HODs, and then the teachers. Teachers, we have three categories: professors, associate professor, and assistant professor in academic library. So if Vice Chancellor is interested, then a Dean is interested, then a HOD is interested, then a professor in the department is interested, and then an assistant professor is interested. What we'll do is we'll send this journal to the table of that particular authority or the teacher with a specific date of retainment, suppose 2 days of retainment. Then once the period of that particular authority or the professor or the dean is completed, then it will go to the next in the list, next person in the list. In the same way, it will rotate through all the people who are interested in that particular journal, and then it will come back to the library, and then we'll display it for a few days on the racks, periodical racks for general users who have not been in the list, and then it will go to the back volumes. Okay. There are a number of commercial and available current awareness publications. Current contents published by Institute of Scientific Information reproduces of table of contents of highly cited journals. As mentioned earlier, many of the indexing and abstracting publications can also be of current. Information service is newspaper clipping service. This service is a kind of current awareness service covering current social, political, and technical or economic events and activities. This service would be required by R&D managers, researchers at all levels, and the general category of users wishing to be kept informed about the current affairs. Depending upon the need of the particular group of clients, subjects covered may vary. But the essence of this service is to bring to the notice of the users reports about the current events, activities, personalities, etc. The following would need attention in organizing this service. Subject or area to be covered, selection of events to be noticed, such as reports on government actions and its policies on current issues pertaining to educational, research, economical, social, and political matters, editorials of the newspapers, views and comments provided by the newsreaders, future articles, and others are some of the clippings that generally the libraries will do. Newspapers to be scanned, which are the newspapers. You need to make a list of the newspapers that you are going to scan and select for the newspaper clipping. Clipping files and its organizations. Once you clip the news items, then how you are going to organize it. Again, the organization mode, we have alphabetical, chronological, or class-wise. Index files and the arrangement of the entries to be made. And what will be the frequency? Generally, the newspaper clipping service is done every day. So then how you are going to publish it, or how you are going to have the record, complete record, maybe a weekly record, monthly record, how you are going to individualize that particular product of newspaper clipping. Abstracting service. This service is for providing current and retrospective literature on chosen fields with abstract as well as citations of articles and papers appearing in current journals and also reports, conference papers, and proceedings. The aspects which need attention in the production of these abstract bulletins are subject identification, selection of items to be included, resources or sources to be covered, citation practices, which is the style of citation, that is the referencing styles, preparation of abstracts for using author abstracts, presentation of entries, supporting indexes, frequencies, and the physical productions. Uh, the next service is project information files or reporting services. Project information files are information supports provided to the project undertaken by the research institutions, university departments, government bodies, and others in which different groups of specialists may be involved. Retrospective and current information in the form of literature references, statistical facts and figures, and other type of information are continuously compiled and maintained in accumulated form in the card files or computer-based files. This is constantly updated. If necessary, specific areas may be taken up for the preparation and production of specialized information bulletins at periodical intervals. This service would usually terminate at the termination of the project. The contents of the files are determined on the basis of different subject areas relevant to the project. The entries may be citations with or without the abstracts. The next service is the user education program. This service is a sort of orientation program for users at different levels, helping them to use the library and its collections effectively. Such programs are offered to students at school, college, and university levels, particularly to junior entrants in research organizations and new entrants in any education institutions or any institutions, in order to expose them to the library collection, rules, facilities, and services. In designing such courses, main points that require attention are: who are the target groups or the target audience, what will be the duration of the course, what will the course content, course materials, supporting and oral instructions, demonstration of the use of reference tools through audiovisual kits, knowledgeable and trained faculties who will be providing the lectures, practicals and self-learning exercises, and lastly the evaluation, how effective is your lecture or the user education program. The next service is reprography service. We have already mentioned about this. If the original document is not available, its photocopy is provided as a document delivery service. The introduction of fast plain paper copiers, that is PPC, which was pioneered by Xerox Corporation, the copying process xerography, has revolutionized the copying process. The demand for photocopies has also considerably increased. Library and information centers, therefore, have developed photocopying facilities to provide the reprography services. The PPCs are not merely copying devices, but they can also produce multiple copies of document. It should be noted that providing photocopies of document is governed by the copyright law. Example, the UK permits taking only one photocopy of a document provided that the requester signs a declaration stating that the copy is for research or private study. Selective dissemination of information. Selective dissemination of information is a method of supplying each user or the group of users with references of the documents or abstract relating to their predefined areas of interest, selected from documents published recently or received during the period in question. This service saves the users the effort of having to scan through a number of publications, which can be very time consuming, and to choose document of interest to him. Although SDI is highly convenient the, from the user point of view, it may not prove useful unless the user and the document profiles are carefully constructed and their matching is exact. Thus, the effectiveness of the SDI service depends on the quality of the user profiles and the relevance of the publications matched with. The user profile comprises of a set of keywords organized as rigorously as the system permits, which describe the subject of interest of the users. These keywords are compared with the keywords appearing in the description of the documents, and the document is selected when the two coincide. The corresponding references or the abstracts are then sent to the users, usually accompanied by the feedback form on which the user can indicate whether the document really interests him, whether he needs a copy, or why it is of no interest to him. On the basis of the feedback, user profile is updated. The feedback thus collected forms one of the important components of this SDI service. It must be noted that the task of designing or constructing a profile is a complex operation calling for skilled information specialists and the cooperation of the users. It is generally worked out in several stages, and the result has to be regularly checked and updated. If the number of users is limited, the SDI service can be based on manual operation. But the rapid expansion of this service is due to the proliferation of machine-readable databases. SDI services can be aimed at single user, individual profile, or at a group of users with a similar interest, group profile. The group profile is obviously less expensive for individuals than individual profiles. It may be stated that SDI service is one of the best current awareness service available at present. It may not be out of place to mention here the retrospective search services. The purpose of this service is to provide user with the reference of the documents relating to the specific query. In most of the cases, a single one. Unlike the current awareness service, these services do not aid the users to keep abreast of the developments in the specific subject field, but enable him to find the solution to a particular problem. The problem may vary greatly from answering a simple practical question to compiling a list of references to the previous search on a subject. This is the diagram of SDI. You can see when we receive a new document here, the document is analyzed, indexed, and abstracted, and the users' profiles are created, and their interest is identified, and the user profiles are created. Now you have two. One is the document database and the user database, that is user profile file. Then the matching is, if there is any matching, the SDI output will come and the user will be given this matching, notified this matching, and user response is analyzed, and if there is any if he is interested in the document, then the document is delivered to him, and if there is any mismatch or updation required or changes in his interests, then the profile is modified, and then the user profile is ultimately modified through this. Selective dissemination of information. 4 functional phases of an SDI system may be said to be the selection, notification, feedback, and the modification of the user profiles and document profiles. These are few of the references you may like to have and refer. IGNOS, eGnanakosh, MLIS and BLIS materials I have referred. EPG Pathshala, MLIS materials I have referred. Then Library Innovation of Knowledge Society by Kristin I have referred. Encyclopedia of Library and Information Science I have referred. Then the Planning of Library and Information Systems and Services by Sitaraman. Sushil Kumar's Reference Surveys in Modern World, and then the Sharma JS and Gover's Reference Surveys and Sources of Information by SS Publications, a few of them. Thank you all, and if you have any queries, you can mail me at rajesh.aldarthi@gmail.com, or you can message or text, or you can call me directly on this mobile number 9435415465. I'll be happy to answer your queries. Thank you, one and all. Have